Welcome back to my second video. This is not going to be like the video from yesterday. This is going to be kind of an explainer video about what I'm doing for my company, so you have a better idea of that. And then we'll come back to the kind of normal types of content tomorrow. But what I want to talk about today is artificial intelligence. I want all of you guys to have the context for what I'm trying to do, how hard it is, and then what kind of the benefits and the upside of it are. If you think of kind of the year 1500, now this was like a year where you don't think of a lot of crazy innovations that happened. You don't think of a lot of like exciting things. But from like 1500 to 1750, there's a lot going on. There was a lot of advancements. Things got invented in those years that really helped get us to the place where we are now. But if you think about what happened from 1750 to 2000, the year 2000, the difference between those two time frames is like absurd. We had a ton of advancements with cell phones. We have TVs. We have complex cars. Like, basically what I'm trying to say is that change is exponential. It's not something that goes kind of straight up. It's something where it's like an S curve, where you go around the corner, and sometimes change is really fast, sometimes change is really slow, but over time change picks up. So from the year 2000 to 2100, we'll probably see a lot more progress in the world because things speed up so quickly that everything is advancing so much faster than you would even think. So we've seen a lot of really big paradigms in our time, kind of the mobile phone, the internet, and when I'm talking about our time, I'm just talking about in the last 100 years. But the next major paradigm after kind of mobile is artificial intelligence. I think artificial intelligence is going to be something that really changes the world, and I think it has the opportunity to quite honestly destroy the world. And we're going to get a little bit more into that as the video progresses and why I feel like that. But artificial intelligence is essentially one of the most important technologies of our time, and I don't feel like a lot of you or enough of you watching kind of these videos might have an idea of why and what its implications are. I'm going to kind of break down some terms for you and put them on the screen. So the first one is ANI. And ANI is artificial narrow intelligence. So artificial narrow intelligence is basically something that's programmed to do one thing really well. For example, when you get spam emails and you know how it goes to your spam box on that email, that's artificial narrow intelligence. It's something that's programmed to go to a specific function. So if I get a spam email, the program tells it to put that in the spam box. If you're going to contrast that with something called artificial general intelligence, that's a whole other ballgame. So artificial general intelligence is actually something that is as smart and as capable as humans are. And you can ask it to play chess with you, but you can also ask it to give you life advice, and you can also ask it to do your homework with you. It's something that is as smart as kind of the smartest human. And that's kind of this crazy kind of threshold where we're going towards. Is right now we're in artificial narrow intelligence, where we can program something to do one thing really well, but we can't have something that does everything really well. And that's kind of the next major threshold that we have to meet as a civilization. After that comes something called ASI. ASI is artificial superintelligence. Now this is where it gets really crazy. So you have artificial general intelligence, and artificial general intelligence is something that is as smart as almost all humans. Artificial superintelligence is what happens after artificial general intelligence. It can think faster, it can think smarter, it can think in a class that we can't even process. It is way smarter than a human being ever will be. If you think of us kind of like ants, artificial superintelligence will be what humans are. That's kind of the comparison, is like artificial superintelligence will try as hard as it possibly can to explain stuff to ants, but the ants will never like process it and understand it. We as humans will never be able to understand the thought process of something that's artificially super intelligent, because it's so much smarter than us and it thinks in a world of its own. If you, for example, tried to talk to an ant and tried to explain the physics or even a basic concept like this is what a skyscraper looks like, the ant would never understand it no matter what you keep saying to it. It's something where you have to actually have that level of intelligence to understand the thought process behind it. We learned a little bit about what artificial intelligence is on a broad scale. We learned about ANI, which is where we are right now. We learned about AGI, which is where we're going, and then ASI. So I just want to talk about kind of the positive outcomes for artificial intelligence. How can this be something that's really good for the world? So I kind of divide it into three groups. One is kind of a genie. So something where you can ask any question you can possibly imagine. How do I cure cancer? How do I get to the moon? Something that is artificially super intelligent will probably be able to answer these questions for you and any other questions you have. What is the right thing to text my girlfriend? What is the wrong thing to eat for dinner? Things that may be simple, but also things that are incredibly complex. It'll be able to help us solve those problems. The other part of it is something where we could literally have an assistant and you could say, build me a car, or go get me some food, or help me build my own drone. So this is something where it's kind of independent and you can tell it to do these things and it'll help you do these things. The last part of it that I think is really exciting is a sovereign artificial intelligence. What a sovereign artificial intelligence is basically sending an AI out in the world and saying basically fix human problems. If people are hungry in the world, go try and fix that. If people need water or need medical help, whatever, try and do as much good as you can for the world and try and solve as many problems as possible. Climate change is a really big example of that. If we have artificial superintelligence, I believe we will be able to solve climate change and most of the biggest problems in the world that we face as humans today. The other really exciting part about artificial intelligence is something that relates to something called nanotechnology. So nanotechnology basically is going to allow us to do so many amazing things to not only our body, but to kind of our whole world. So nanotechnology will basically allow us to repair our cells in our body. If we are dying or if we have a disease, nanotechnology will probably be able to help fix that for us. So what that means kind of in a future implication way is that we can eventually genetically upgrade ourselves. We can make it so that we live for maybe 100 years, 200 years, 300 years. If the body is always constantly being repaired and it's never breaking down, which is what happens in old age, why is aging a thing? Why is death a thing in that kind of a world? And that does mean that immortality is a real possibility with artificial intelligence, that we could live forever, that all of our problems could be solved, essentially living in kind of this world where we don't have these kind of basic concerns anymore. People don't need to work, people don't need to worry about food, people don't need to worry about water. It's this kind of crazy concept that really takes a while to think about. Artificial superintelligence, if done in a positive way, will enable us to all live like gods. I'm going to cut it there in an effort not to kind of bore you guys to death, but there are opportunities for artificial intelligence to turn out negatively, and we're going to talk about that in future videos, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how amazing our world can be, and I'm going to also talk to you more about how this relates to my company in future videos. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Please turn on your post notifications and comment down below when you're done. Whoever does that, I'll pick someone tomorrow. We'll receive 10% of my AdSense. With that being said, I will see you back here tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.